Good morning. We ended up back in Bismarck a little sooner than we expected. It is November 3rd, and we had left for about a week, and then we found out they called us and said, hey, we're ready to do some more utility work. And we thought we had 30 days, but no, we had about a week. So it's not the worst thing in the world, don't get me wrong. It's just that we're back a little sooner than expected. And take a look at things, tell you kind of what the plans are, what we're going to work on. And yeah, it's beautiful up here. This is our slab right now. This is our view. You can see the reds and the golds are coming in, and our slab is drying up real nice. It looks really good. They had some rain up here, and you could definitely see where it smoothed things out. It made the base around the slab, it compacted it. It actually looks really good. I'll have to grade it a little better, but anyway, just to give you an idea of what we're going to do while we're here, we're going to finalize that water line. Actually, maybe we won't, because we still have to get a building in here, and I don't want to put things in the way of them doing their work, so we might wait on that. But what I do need to do is I need to dig up this old power line and trench back to the post and dig it all out and remove it. And then what I need to do is where this line is where the house power is going to be. I've dug it here, and I don't know if you can see that little gray line right there, but that's got to run from there. And now what we got to do is take this line and basically shoot a line alongside this, probably use the trench I make when I dig out and go all the way at power line. So that's what we're gonna do right over here, amongst other things, but that's how the day's gonna start. So let's get to it. It's early, time change has come, it's nice and cool. It's gonna be a good day. We got the electric line dug out. I'll show you what that is and what our next steps are gonna be. Got the trench all the way done. It's all trenched out all the way to the power line. The line was out. I don't know if you saw in the last video. You could see where the line was in there in that gray conduit, and it's all gone. So that step is done. The next step, this is a rough fit for the shutoff, the service shutoff. And what I need to do is go get some 2.0 line to carry power. We're going to connect it in between the meter and that service shut off, and then from there we get 2-inch line and connect it into that main lug and glue the conduit and glue it all the way over to the house, and it's gonna come up and out and be ready over there where that gray line's sticking up out of the ground. So that's our next step. Good morning again. It is November 4th. It is election day 2025. We already went out and voted because we knew we'd be up here, and we got that taken care of. So let's look at the trenching job we got. Okay, so yesterday I was recording the trenching and lost a lot of footage. I came over, there's a line coming out and trenched all the way. It's a little crooked, but it's okay. Luckily, the electrical conduit has some flex in it, so it will go in here. It should flex correctly and get us to the power post. If not, then either I'm going to be doing some hand digging, or I'm going to take my fancy excavator and have to smooth it out somehow, dig some spots up to help smooth it out. So I rough fit in the cutoff switch right there. That's right below the service panel. And what I'm going to do today, I'm going to show you about how to wire up all this and then run it over to the house and get it in the ground. Here's our supplies. We got our about 90 feet of 2-inch conduit and a lot of 4.0 wire, aluminum, and let's get this all rolled over and start putting it together. I've got the majority of this wire and conduit glued up. I'm going to let it cure because it's going to put a lot of stress on these joints, because as you can see, there's some goofy angles and stuff like that, and I've got to kind of track into this groove. So I'm going to let it sit for probably 15-20 minutes or so that when I move it, it doesn't compromise the joints and make them split apart, because then you got to go back and glue them. All right, the last step is confirmation that we got good power. So you take an amp meter and set it right there. Now, if you check power below this switch on the low side, you shouldn't have anything. Well, we got very low voltage. That's normal. That's pretty normal. As long as it's microvolts, that's nothing unusual. What we want to check is this top side. And I'm going to sneak in there. You can probably, I don't know if you can see that lug nut right there. If not, that's what I'm contacting. I'm contacting a lug nut. Okay. Now it says we have low voltage, but when we go to the neutral, there we go. Boom. 124.4. Let's check the other side. 124.5. Perfect. Okay, and then the last check is to check legs together. 250, 249.1. So we're good. That means we're wired correctly. If I was to turn this switch on and then go all the way down there to where the wire's sticking out, you would do a power check again. But because this switch is set into off, it cuts the power here, which is good. It's going to be that way for a while, because there's no reason to turn on the power in the house until we actually service panel in the building. So that's going to be a few steps down the road, but we got the thing wired today, and now all you got to do is bury this conduit. Okay, that power line that was above ground that I showed you I was digging up and running, now it's all in the ground. Brought it all over. This is our disconnect. They call it a service disconnect, and what it does is back behind that door there's a switch, and if you turn that off, everything downline of that, meaning what goes to the house, will be shut off. So above that we have the actual service panel, and I did wire this up, but I want to explain a few things. That big breaker up there, that's the main that comes from the utility company, and so you've got your meter, and then from there it goes to that, and if you shut that big thing down, it will shut everything down. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to show you, explain a few things about this electrical thing. I already wired it, but this big wire right here on the right, I don't like it. I don't like that it has that extra slack, because when I close the panel door, it pushes against the panel door and it won't close right. So I need to cut about an inch and a half off of that and then run it back up in there. And I want to explain a few things when I do. So when you're dealing with this electrical, all these lugs right here is what they're called. These guys right here, those are lugs, and I want to show you, as you can tell, this is a 1/4 inch Allen wrench, and I put some rubber tape on it, and that makes insulation, because as long as you have an insulator, if I touch this hex against that metal, this metal's a conductor. And so what'll happen is you get shocked, and that's 120 volts at 200 amps, and it's not pleasant. and it could do some damage for sure. So what I recommend is you get an insulated tool, and in addition, just to make sure that while you're rotating this you don't accidentally touch right here, is that you would also get a set of gloves, wear a set of gloves, and then that way when you put the gloves on, like so, you have your Allen wrench, like so. Now there's no way for this metal to contact you, and you've got plenty of insulation against that current, and so it won't come at you. It'll just continue going whichever way it chooses. You know, think of electricity like water, and what happens is this electricity wants to go to ground. You've got a grounding wire right there that goes to a grounding rod right there and goes to ground. Electricity wants to go to ground. It wants to use its positive charge and wants to go to ground. So if you touch metal against that, I'm the ground now, and it's going to go through me if I'm not insulated, and it's going to go to ground, and it's going to not be pleasant. But with all this stuff on, like I said, with heavy gloves and an insulated tool, I've already touched this too with this setup. All right, good morning. I've missed a lot of steps and days. There's been some challenges, especially during winter. It's hard to record, you just try to get through the day because it's so dang cold, and it's hard to set up and do stuff. So it is February 20, no, it's not the 20th. What day is it? It's February 17th. And we called a guy about doing foam in this building, and it's done. I went through, I framed all the windows. We got the framing for the windows done. I had electrical in, we got water that we got to do, and we reset the doors. If you look, they installed these doors, and initially they were not on the concrete, they were on the metal bar, so they were 2 inches up, and it made for a pretty big step up, and we were not fans of that, so we corrected it, and now it's, you know, we're flush to the concrete, but that's where we're at. I know I've missed a lot of steps, but we got the foam in. The company came in, they foamed everything. Unfortunately, they did a really fantastic job. So when you're doing foam, always make sure, absolutely sure, you make sure your wires are not somewhere you don't want them to get sprayed, because as good as a job they did, they buried my main lines in this foam. So I'm gonna have to tear those out, and when I tear them out, I'm gonna have to backfill in with some foam that I do have, and take care of that. Also, make sure you don't have gaps at the floor, because you can see right there, I've got about a 1/2 inch gap, because it came out, and when they pushed it back, they didn't push it back all the way. So now I've got to dig that foam out and get this plate pushed back. It's 30 degrees outside. It's a nice day. It's 30 degrees, but in here it's actually moderately comfortable. I'd probably say 50 degrees, about 20 degrees warmer, which is real nice. So this stuff definitely works. This foam is worth it. All right, so part of the process of putting up your walls is getting your plates stapled to the ground. And the way you do that is you get one of these fancy ram sets. You got little 22 caliber blanks, and you've got a nail. And the way it works is you load up this blank into this ram set, okay? And what you do is, it's basically a blank, but it generates pressure. And what that pressure will do is it punches out through that nose and drives that nail down into the plate and then into the concrete. And that's how you anchor your walls into the concrete. I want to show you how to do that, but the thing is, it's extremely loud because it's basically the equivalent of a 22 gun shot. And given that it echoes real bad in here, I'm not sure how noisy it'll be, but I'll show you the finished project here in a moment. All right, there's the nail driven in. It's a 3-inch nail through an 1.5 inch of treated plate or treated 2x4, and then down in the concrete, and that's how it anchors. In addition, I've got some other spots I'll show you where I also anchor the top of the wall to the building, and I'll show you a couple pictures of those. So that's how the wall is finalized and put together.